Hey, Sandra, not working and my Wi-Fi is not good in here, so I'm using my own internet on my phone. I hope you can hear me all right. It's Sandra with another episode of Asexualized, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. I know there's a little bit of a lag, but I'm hoping we're going to be okay. So welcome if you've just joined me. Seems really weird seeing myself live on my phone here. I hope you can hear me all right. Give me a thumbs up if you're liking this video. So in today's video, we're going to talk about how can an asexual get our asexual relationship. So that means an asexual person have a relationship with another asexual. How can that happen? So, I was on Asexuality today, and one of the beautiful things I noticed is one of the comments in my actual own thread. So I've got a thread I started on asexuality.com, which is a dating website for asexuals, that said, who here is looking for a serious relationship? You know, who here is actually looking for a serious relationship? Because there's loads of people that say they are, but not many people that take much action to actually get a relationship. And that is the key to the whole thing. Unless you take any action, you're never, ever, 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 ever going to have an asexual relationship with another asexual. Unless you get some action going. You know, nothing's going to land in your lap. No guardian angel's going to drop down from the sky all of a sudden. Unless you're very, very lucky, one-off, saying, you know, make sure you go here because, you know, you might meet someone. You just gotta, yes, I believe in spirituality. I believe in things that happen for a reason, that you might find your ideal partner. But if you don't go somewhere in the first place and take some action, nothing's going to happen. So that is the first thing to know, that whatever I'm talking about now, you have to take some action. So many people are all talk and no action. It's not good. However, anyway, in this asexualistic forum thread that I've got, who's here's looking for a serious relationship, there was a guy who answered the question that someone was asking. They were basically saying that they're finding it hard to get an asexual relationship, and as a result they've become fiercely independent. I'm just reading from Asexualitic, but in their soul they know there's still a tiny flicker of hope. But this particular person's only ever met one other asexual in person in their entire life. So this guy's response to that I thought was really, really good. And it's nice to have someone else say this, not just me, because obviously you listen to what I say all the time. But it's nice to hear another opinion. And this guy's really good. I love his answer. So he said, there is always hope. Our opportunities for an asexual relationship is few and far between. Therefore, we must work a little harder to establish this type of relationship. We have to believe and do the work it takes to find an asexual partner. Don't give up. We are different and not of this sexual world. We are scattered throughout the world. It's evident that I must go to them or they come to me. It's not as easy as establishing a heterosexual relationship. Our approach must be new, fresh and creative. And I couldn't agree more with him. We are a minority within the vast majority of heteronormative sexual people. And if we really, really want a relationship, we either have to move somewhere to go and live near or with someone, or they have to come and move to live near or with us. That's it, in a nutshell. Because you are very, 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 very unlikely to find an asexual person who's right for you in your own town or city. So this means that you've either got to search for a mover or you've got to be prepared to move yourself. I'm in search of a mover because I absolutely adore living here. I love my flat. I am really happy here. There's only an asexual partner I'm missing out of my life, you know, if I'm missing anything, because I still have a wonderful single life. And so that's the only one thing that is missing, really, is an asexual partner. Everything else I'm happy with in my life. I'm here, you know. I love my home. This is not my flat, though. I don't own it. So I am fully aware that, you know, it might not last forever, me being here, which means I do have to have a contingency plan for in the future. And, I don't think it matters what age you are, you can still get a relationship, an asexual relationship. And I actually think that, it's like I'm sat here now saying I'll never ever move. And at the moment, my mind is fixed on that because I don't want to, because I'm so happy, and why fix something that's not broken? However, I realise that, say, 10, 20 years time, if I'm still single because I can't find the right asexual guy in anywhere near I live, then I might have to consider moving, might I? Even though I don't want to. Or just stay put where I am and not find the person. So, I know that it's up to me. I've decided I'm a non-mover because I absolutely do all my life. I don't like living with anyone, and everything's beautiful here in this flat. Where I live's lovely. I can't really, it's the best place I've ever lived in my life. And when I'm that happy, there is absolutely no point in me up and moving when I might be moving somewhere that I'm not happy. Do you see what I mean? I'm really content here at the moment. I'm so grateful and thankful for this beautiful flat. But he is right, this guy. You either have to move or be a mover. If you can't move, you have to look to find a mover, someone who can move. And if you're a mover, you're flexible because you can go anywhere in the world. I've got someone in my business group and he's like, oh, well, after I finish my study, I want to move, but I don't know where I want to move to. I can move anywhere. Well, if you've got the mindset you can move anywhere, then you're even more lucky than most, because you can just connect with people all over the world on asexual dating sites. So the two I use are asexuality.com. I will put the link in the description down below after this video's finished processing. When the live stream finishes. And I also use ace-book.net. Those are the two websites I use all the time for asexual dating. It is slow because there's not that many of us, not many new people come on there, I've got to admit. And it's hard because we're all spread around the world. But if you are willing to move, then it makes life a lot easier. But it's not just about willingness to move, it's about, can you actually afford to move? And do you have the proper correct visas and passports in place? It's no good you turning around to someone and saying, I really want to move to your country, and you haven't done any research to find out if you can actually move and live there. That's just being not very thoughtful and not being good. Do your research first. If you want to move to the UK, which loads of people seem to want to move to the UK, then that's fine. You need to look into visas, getting a sponsored job, or studying over here, and where are you going to get the money from? Some of the courses from abroad, people abroad, to come to UK are £16,000 a year just for 1 year's course. Do you know what I mean? And you got a full course, and I think that includes accommodation, but I'm not even sure if it does. It might just be the course fees of 16,000. Sometimes you can get a scholarship for money to put towards it, but usually they don't pay your whole amount. But you're going to probably have to get a job while you're over here as well. And you can't usually get residency in the UK unless you've been here at least 5 years and worked here for 5 years, So it's really tough. So don't just think that just because you want to move somewhere, you can do that. There might be certain religions or, customs that goes against your own if you move somewhere as well. So you have to think about that. You have to consider a job as well, what you're going to do, where you're going to live. You might not move in with a person straight away if you don't know them that well, might you? You might want to get a place of your own, which is quite sensible. But as this guy said, you have got to be prepared to either move or find someone who is a mover. It's logical common sense, but people just keep sitting there in their places going, I can't find an asexual. There's no one in my area. So yeah, you can spend your whole life sitting in your place saying, I can't find anyone in my area, or you can shift out and do some travelling. I'm not one for travelling the whole globe at the moment, but I am definitely up for travelling some of my UK to try and meet up with an asexual guy if he was the right one for me. We Skyped first and I thought it all went well, I'd travel up to London to meet him, or some other place as long as I could afford it, obviously, and you've got to have finances to do it. But, you've got to make the effort. And this is what this guy's saying. You've got to make the effort. It's harder to get an asexual relationship. So you've got to work twice as hard to get one. 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, 10 times. You've got to be relentless. I've been on asexual dating sites now for over 4 years. Since 2014. Have I given up? No. Do I love my single life in the meantime? Yes. But I won't give up, because there's no point. If you give up, that's it. The end, isn't it? If you've given up. So don't give up. So one thing is, you've got to get your mindset straight. You've got to be prepared that you're either looking for a traveller, someone who, or well, looking for a mover, or you have to move, one or the other, and you have to be prepared to travel to a certain distance to even meet up with the person in the first place. You know, you might want to meet on mutual territory, meet halfway or something. So you've got to be prepared to do this, you know. So this increases your chances of finding an asexual relationship if you're more flexible about moving. The people that have the most dates that I talk to in the asexual community are the ones that go and travel. They go up and down the country. So, for example, in the UK, they will go to different meets throughout around the UK, you know, whenever they can get to them and whenever they can afford them. You know, they'll travel around and go to different meetups, or host your own and get people to come to you. I've had people come to my meetups that I've met online. Unfortunately, I haven't found the right one yet for me. I've had some foreign guys come to my meetups, but they haven't been the right needs, same as mine, you know, because I'm interested in foreign guys and live in the UK. So, you know, you've got to be prepared to move or travel or both, or find someone who will move to be with you if you can't move. It's pretty common sense, but common sense isn't always common practice, you know. The amount of times I'll get people saying, oh, I can't find anyone. You know, like this person, this female before to the guy said, oh, I've only ever met one asexual. Well, the question you should be asking yourself, a more intelligent question, is how am I going to meet more? You know, so whenever you're sat there saying to yourself, I've not met any asexuals, or I haven't met any, the question you need to ask yourself is how? And then you need to find out the how and make it happen. Because if you don't make it happen, no one else will in the world. So it's down to you, not anyone else, just you. You. You know? So there was also something else that he said, which was very interesting. He also said, remember sex sells. We are in a non-profit chasm, CHASM. Therefore, our endeavours must be in self-supporting activities in our own in order to build prosperous asexual relationships. And we must do it on our own dime. In other words, you know, there's lots of, there's lots of meetups for people who are sexual. But when we're doing it, we've got to pay out the money ourselves and go and meet these people, because, you know, not many people will help us out, you know. We've got to pay for places to eat and venues to organise and stuff to do, because in general, you know, it's like self-funding, isn't it? But I think that's true even in the heterosexual world. I think, you know, there's like, even when you have dating meetups, they still usually have to pay for the meal and to meet up. I mean, a lot of dating sites, they make their money off that meeting up, you know, £15 a head. People meet up, have a good time, and they've paid for the venue and had a great jolly time, you know. So they do pay for stuff that, you know, but I guess what he's saying is there's not really much funding specifically for asexual stuff. Therefore, you know, there's more likely to be funding for sexual stuff. But even so, the point is that you need to make more of an effort. You know, you need to be able to move or find a mover. But you also need to realise that it's going to be hard work. And what I would say is, in order to increase your... and I'm using my phone Wi-Fi, so it shouldn't be. You have to specifically write out your needs, your wants, your likes, your dislikes in a relationship, the things that are deal breakers to you. So the things that you cannot tolerate in a relationship, the things you can tolerate, the things you like ideally in a relationship, the things you have to have in a relationship, and the things you don't want in a relationship and won't tolerate. You know, it's very, very important. You need to write down the hobbies and interests you want that other person to have in common with you. You know, if you don't want kids, you need to write you don't want kids. If you don't want marriage, you need to write you don't want marriage. If you don't want to live together, you need to write you don't want to live together, and find that type of person. Obviously, you might not get the ideal, specific type of perfect person. So maybe there's a hobby or interest you have, but it doesn't really bother you going on your own, and you can do that thing on your own, so you don't need to do that with the person. So therefore, that could be something you compromise, as in, you know, you just do it with yourself and don't bother doing it with that person. So, you know, that's like a healthy compromise, isn't it? Not something where someone's, for example, I don't know, like I'm talking about an asexual relationship here, not a sexual one, you know. But say, you know, you say the person wants marriage and you don't. It's no good forcing yourself to marry the person just to stay with them because you don't want to lose them if it's not what you really want, you know. So that would be an example of something that is a boundary that you need to set in place, an expectation that you don't want marriage if you don't want it, you see. There's no point in pretending. That's like a deal breaker, really. Do you know what I mean? I mean, obviously, it might not be a deal breaker to you if you're not bothered one way or the other, but if you are and definitely don't want it, then it is a deal breaker. So literally list down on a piece of paper, you know, your likes in a relationship, your dislikes, your wants, your needs, but also deal breakers. Things that categorically have to be in a relationship for it to succeed for you. Like, I couldn't live without public displays of affection. I know there's lots of people that can, but personally I can't stand it. I cannot stand being with my partner and never them kissing me in public or holding my hand. To me, that is like being a caged animal. To some other people, it would be bliss. They'd be like, no, I want to keep everything private and just look like friends to the rest of the world. I find that bizarre, but that's, you know, that's what a lot of people do like. My parents aren't displaying public displays of affection usually. They keep all that private. I'm very different to my parents, as you can tell. So, you know, it's each to their own, but that's what I mean. It's your own needs. If you've got a partner who doesn't want to have public displays of affection, you've got one who needs it, it's not going to work, is it? You know, similarly, if you've got, like, I hate travelling. Like, I don't mind travelling in this country and going on day trips, but as a general rule, I don't want to be travelling all over the globe. I don't get the need or urge or want for it. It's just not in my nature. It's boring to me, which sounds really bad to tons of people, but I don't find going to different places, unless it's to do with theme parks, zoos or aquariums, exciting. You know, so yeah, if I was going travelling all over the world, I'd probably want to go to every single theme park in the world that I could possibly find. But I'm not bothered about going abroad because I can, apart from Disneyland Paris, I can go there, go to the theme parks in the UK, and that's good enough for me. I don't need to be going here, there, and everywhere. I've got no interest in it, which the majority of people want to travel, you know, so that's difficult for me. So you have to think about the things you can compromise on and things you can't compromise. I mean, for me, with travelling, if I was going to compromise, it'd be like I could go more places on Eurostar, for example, because I hate flying on a plane. So if someone lived in Europe or wanted to go on holiday in Europe, if I had the money, I could go to places in Europe, like, because you can get to Spain, France, and all sorts of places by Eurostar. Do you know what I mean? So that would be my compromise if I really had to, but only if I was going to go somewhere that I enjoyed. So at the end of it was a theme park or something. If I'm just going to sit on the beach, that bores me to tears. It's no good for me. It's just a waste of my life and time. I don't like it. I'm not enjoying myself. Do you know what I mean? So what you've got to do is, you know, be prepared to travel. Know that either you've got to move or they've got to be a mover, and be very, very crystal clear on your wants, needs, likes and dislikes, and things you can do in a relationship and things you can't do. Things you will compromise on and things you won't compromise on. And, you know, go on as many asexual dating sites as you can. Beware of some of the highly paid ones, though, because some of those are like Asexual Cupid. That's part of the, I think, OK Cupid group. And a lot of the Asexual Cupid pages, if you didn't know, they've got sponsored ads partway through, or maybe not sponsored ads from their other dating sites where their people aren't asexual, but the way they've done it is very crafty, and it's like a square with a picture profile in the middle of your feed, so it looks like it's another person to click on from the asexual dating site you're on, but if you click it, it'll go through to a sexual site, not your stay on the same asexual dating sites. You have to watch out for stuff like that. So there are other dating sites, you know. I mean, there's meetup.com as well. Meetup.com, they have lots of different asexual meetups. Obviously, if you are registered on asexuality.org, which is the world's biggest online forum for asexuals, you can go to Meetup Mart. That's Meetup Mart, and you can look down for your country, or, you know, like for mine, for example, I would look down to Ireland and UK Meetup Marts and look at all the meetups that are across the UK. I would also add my own, because I hold my own asexual meetups in my city, and that's another really good way of finding people, you know, actually having an in-person meetup. Either you go to one or you organise one, because the two ways you're most likely to meet someone online is either on an asexual dating site, or if you're very lucky, a sexual, you know, like a heteronormative dating site, if you're very, very lucky. Or you're going to meet them, you know, at a excuse me, asexual meetup. Excuse me. You know, so those are the major two ways: online on a dating site or dating app, as ASAP as well, which you can get for Android or iPhone. So you just have to increase your chances of finding an asexual by going on as many asexual dating sites as you can, talking to as many friends as well as possible. This is something that's not really brought up anywhere. Is if you have asexuals come and be friends with you, make it known the type of asexual you're looking for, because they might come across an asexual that's suitable for you, even if you don't. So tell your friends, you know, even people that are not asexual, tell. Because you can say to them, look, I'm looking for an asexual relationship. This is the type of thing I like. If you know of anyone, please can you let them know and put them in my direction? You know, so basically you just have to do your own research of where to find asexuals from and try and connect with as many asexuals as possible. You can do it on social media, on Twitter, or obviously Facebook groups, Reddit, you know, Quora. I don't know if you pronounce it like that. Quora, Quora. They have asexuals on there, and you know, it's just really important to go to as many places, sites, and things that you know, towards as many things as possible that you feel an asexual might be hanging around or might be at. You know, asexual meetups are a given, aren't they? But you know, like lots of there's loads of asexual groups on Facebook if you're not already in them. Like I said, asexual dating sites, forums. You know, like Avon, asexuality.org is definitely not a dating site, but you might find someone there, private message them, and you've got a lot in common with them, and you might meet them. So quite a few relationships apparently have started on there. So, you know, don't give up hope. That's what I'm saying. But you have to put yourself out there. You have to be prepared to say, oh, I'm not going to stay in my same city or town. I'm actually going to travel out and meet some people outside my city or, you know, my direct home, and just do it. And don't overthink it, you know, just do it, because you've only got yourself to blame if it succeeds or blame if it fails, because it's no one's responsibility to get your relationship but yourself. However, you know, you can ask friends and family and people you know to help you in case they find anyone suitable. So just basically arm yourself with as many opportunities as possible. The most obvious ones are asexual dating sites and ASAP. But the less obvious ones are like asking around for friends, you know, like actually, you know, taking more risks, like maybe go on other dating sites that are not necessary for asexuals and put in your profile what you're looking for and try and scan all through different people's profiles to see if there's any that sound like they're not interested in sex, like, are they looking for a really strong companionship, that type of wording. That's what I did when I was on Plenty of Fish. I was looking for people who were like wanting like more than a friendship, but they were saying more like a platonic friendship, really close bonded stuff. I was trying to look for people who worded things like that, because to me it was more likely that they were gonna be asexual, if anyone on there was, you know. But I mean, I scrolled for about 400 people, and it took me it took me longer than that. No, it's 4 hours, sorry, and I think I had to scroll through, was it 800 people in 4 hours or something? Literally going across, or was it less than that? But it was a long time. I was scrolling through these hundreds of people trying to find a possible asexual amongst all the sexuals on Plenty of Fish. It was a nightmare, actually. It's very time consuming, but if you've got time on your hands, you can do it, can't you? We've all got to start somewhere. Anyway, I hope this video has been useful, helpful, insightful for you in some way. I hope it has. Sorry about the lag on it. I tried to start this video twice on my iPad, completely stopped working, rebooted my internet, which is flashing red, and now I'm supposed to be on the internet on my own phone, but I see there's a lag, so I do apologise for that. I hope you still found it useful, helpful, insightful. I will put the links down below to the two sites I'm on, the asexual dating sites, underneath this description when I have finished live streaming. If you've got any questions in the meantime, if you want me to do certain videos covering certain topics, please post it down below. I really appreciate you and your comments. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate that. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live like now or post a new video. And I will see you soon. Take care.